Welcome to Clay Mastermind with Don Grant. Mental excellence and industry insights. Brought to you by the Clay Lab, your ultimate podcast for mastering the mental game of clay shooting and gaining exclusive insights from the top minds in the industry. Join us as we dive into the strategies of elite athletes, uncover the secrets to peak performance, and share powerful techniques to enhance your shooting skills. Plus, get behind-the-scenes access to the leaders and innovators who are shaping the future of the clay shooting industry. Get ready to elevate your game, sharpen your focus, and gain insider knowledge from the best in the business. Let's get started. Here's your host, Don Grant.
All right, folks, welcome to Clay Mastermind with Don Grant. I appreciate you being here and listening. I appreciate all the great feedback that I've been getting from folks, and I love it when you come see me at these events and let me know what you think. And I know that people really like the structure and the kind of information they're learning, but they also feel like they can relate to the people that I'm interviewing. And there's lots that is relatable when it comes to clay shooting. So today I have Carson Lingle, who's had a lot of his own success in clay shooting already, and I'm sure is going to have plenty more to come. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you, Carson. So thanks for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
So, we just recently had the Jack Links, and I know you did pretty great at that. And I'm sure that there's other times as well that you've done good. So why don't you give us some highlights? What are some recent accomplishments?
So, yes, ma'am. Name's Carson Lingle, and recent accomplishments at Jack Links, I placed 10th in the main event for Masters, and then sub-junior first, and then down at Seminole Cup the other week, I was fortunate enough to take HOA runner-up in the fee task, and then top 5 in the main event, and then also sub-junior first in the main event. And then if we go back to the 2024 year, I was fortunate enough to make captain of the sub-junior Team USA. And then also for the Gatewood State Championship, which is my school, I was fortunate enough to win the state championship down there.
Nice job. Well, how old are you?
15 years old.
Well, you just said you came in what at Jack Links?
Master 10th.
I'm dying to know more now. So how long have you been shooting?
I've been shooting for about 5 years now. I started when I was in the 4th grade with an SCTP team called Lake Oconee shotgun team. They're out of Eatonton, Georgia. I started there and got told that if I shoot on the team my 4th grade year, then I can shoot on the Gatewood Middle School team my 5th grade year. And I was really excited about that when I got told that from my shotgun coaches at Gatewood.
Yeah. So that motivated you.
Yes, ma'am.
So what grade are you in?
I'm a freshman this year.
I love it that your schools have the shooting sport or whatever. So is it considered a sport or like extracurricular activity after school? Or is it, a sport program for the school?
Yes, ma'am, it is. The school actually classifies it as just like they would a football game or a baseball game. So when I miss for the state championship or a match, they give me that day out of school.
Oh, nice. So you said 4 years? Five years. 5 years. I need to know, how did you go from 5 years ago to now? Did you shoot before that, meaning hunting and such with your family or anything?
Yes, ma'am. So my family's big into hunting, and I've been shooting guns and holding guns ever since I can really remember.
Yeah.
And when I moved down from Atlanta down to Eatonton and got told that there was a shotgun shooting team and I could shoot guns, I was ecstatic about it, really.
I bet you are.
I couldn't wait to shoot.
That's really great. What state are you in?
Georgia.
Oh, okay. What part of Georgia? Where's that at exactly?
So Eatonton is about an hour south of Athens.
Okay. All right. You're not too far from me. I'm over in the St. Mary's area. Beautiful area up there where you're at. So you've been hunting and holding and shooting guns for as long as you can remember. And then 5 years ago, introduced to clay target shooting, and then you're super excited that you get to do it at school, which is awesome. So have you had instruction through this?
Yes, ma'am, I have. So my first coach was Shelby Moon, and I'm still with her. She's right in my backyard. And then about 2 years ago, I got to start coaching with Zach Keenbaum.
Mm-hmm.
And those two have been my two coaches that have really led me through and got me to this point so far and continue to coach me and help me.
Are you going to Savannah area then to see Zach for
Yes,
instruction?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So tomorrow I leave to go down and shoot with Zach for the weekend.
Nice. That's awesome. You do you find that Shelby and Zach, as far as instruction, that you're getting similar information, or is there any confusion by having the two different instructors?
No, ma'am. It's a lot of similar information. They have a lot of similar ideas with a lot of the birds.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know like Shelby's technique, but it's similar then to Zach's.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because that is a potential area that can be a problem if somebody's like instructor hopping and going to all different instructors and they have different ways of, different ways of teaching is fine because everybody's got a different personality, but different techniques that can become messy, right?
Uh,
Yeah. So how long have you been getting instruction?
I started getting instruction when I was in fourth grade. So I think my first year ever, Shelby was the pro down at Old Hudson Plantation,
Mm-hmm.
which is where the Lake County Shotgun team is based out of. So really, I was kind of, I think, one of the first ever people Shelby really got to start coaching and start getting into coaching with.
Yeah.
And so she's been my coach since day one. And Zach started with him 2 years ago. And both of them, I haven't looked back from both of them ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So have you done anything related to the mental game?
So no mental coaching,
Mhm.
but both of them have helped me with mental aspects of the game, as in when I miss a bird,
Mm-hmm.
try not to think about it too much, try not to get down on yourself about it, and really just focus in on the next target.
And how are you at doing that? How well do you do that?
So last year I had a little bit of a struggle, and some of the tournaments I would shoot good the first day, and then the
Mhm.
second day I would shoot a little bit poorly, and then the third day I'd shoot good again. But that second day, I felt like it was a lot of, I was at a station and I'd missed 2 or 3 birds that I personally felt like I shouldn't have missed.
Mm-hmm.
And with missing those birds, it just kind of got in my mind of, oh shoot, that just cost me the tournament.
Right.
And really, it didn't until I get to the next 2 or 3 stations, and it's snowballing into more targets and more targets because I'm thinking about the birds I just missed on the last station. And
Totally.
I
What
feel
did you?
like that messed me up a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's really no denying it's going to mess you up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What? So what did you do? How did you start correcting that?
So just this year, after putting down the gun from November till the second week in January, after I got the new Beretta SL2
Mhm.
and the stock from Jim Greenwood, I really focused in a lot in practice. And in practice, I'm focusing in on my kind of fundamentals on the show pairs. And then when I get into the box and I'm shooting, I'm focusing in on a lot of just getting up there and seeing the bird and shooting. And if I do miss, then analyze what just happened, analyze the reason you missed, and don't be mad that you missed, but don't be mad as in don't let it snowball into
Mhm.
more misses.
Yeah. And you feel like you've had some success with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Was
A
it
lot.
hard at first?
Yes, ma'am. It was. At first, it was definitely hard, but I feel like a lot of the help in that was maturing as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are 50, 60, 70-year-old men that still get upset when they miss.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know about maturing. But no, that was awesome because it is hard to, miss, it's like, well, then we can rewind. Like you spend time, you spend money, you're devoted to it. You sacrifice other things in your life. You're committed. You have aspirations and dreams with it. Like all this stuff is revolving around your shooting, right? And then you go out there, and if you're at a competition and you start missing, it's like all that can kind of cave down in on you. And especially if you're wanting to win or wanting to, achieve a high score or break, whatever you set for your brain, it can absolutely be like an avalanche effect. And not everybody has the personality or the understanding or the mindset to correct that, at least not right away. If you think of somebody who's a little more hot-headed, right?
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
If you were to describe yourself, would you say that you're hot-headed?
I wouldn't say that I'm personally hot-headed.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I'm more of a calmer, milder temperature.
Yeah, that's what I would assume because of how easy it was for you to go, oh, that's an area I need to work on and like chill out and calm down and like implement it. But if you were a little bit more feisty or hot-headed or tended to anger easily or something like that, then you'd probably still be doing it on some level. The other thing that's tricky related to what you're talking about is sometimes people just internalize it, meaning, initially they might like fist punch or throw their shells or open their gun aggressively or whatever. And then they think, oh, I shouldn't do that. But then even though their correction is to just not throw the shells, but inside they're still calling themselves an idiot or saying that, they keep screwing it up and they're never going to get it, So were you ever the type to physically show that you were upset if you missed targets?
I feel like, when I was younger, I had a few times where I got upset and I might have threw a shell or two.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I started getting older, I started realizing that there's no reason to. It just keeps your heart rate up and it keeps you mad.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help with anything.
Did you go through a period where you stopped doing it physically, but mentally you were still kind of chewing yourself out?
Yes, ma'am. I think a little bit on the first part of last year.
Mm-hmm.
I started to kind of get away from that, but the first part, I definitely was a little bit like that. I would just be mad at myself, and I wouldn't really show it, but I would definitely talk to myself where nobody could really hear me, but in my head, I was just like not happy with myself.
Yeah. So you've worked on that. You've worked on both things.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you tell yourself now if you've had a few misses, especially early on? How do you handle that? What kind of conversations do you have in your head now?
So nowadays, I'm really saying to myself, it's okay. Everybody out here is going to miss at some point in time. There's very few times where you see hundreds on the scoreboards, especially at these regional tournaments. And just try to, if you miss on a station, try to really analyze what you did and see if you saw the bird good. That a lot of misses are from you not really looking at the bird hard. You have to be true with yourself and actually tell if you're looking at it and if you watched it all the way till the target actually broke or until you fired and you have to move on to the next bird.
Nice. And it is that simple, although that's hard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a simple concept, but it's tricky to actually implement, focusing that much on the target. And its focus isn't just your eyes, it's your mind also, right? Like because you can be looking in that general direction, but it doesn't mean you're thinking and focused on it mentally, which is a lot of what you're talking about there.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. Because, I've had that happen to me multiple times where I feel like I'm looking at the bird, but in the back of my head, I know I'm not really hard focusing on seeing the bird and seeing it clear and really just making sure that I'm connected with it and not just putting my gun in the general area of where the bird's going to be.
What does it mean to you to connect with it?
Follow kind of the line of the bird, see the line of the bird, and then also, depending on what move I'm going to make on each bird, connect with, if it's a maintain lead, connect into the lead and then match the speed of the bird. If it's a little bit of a pull away, run with the bird and then start to pull away. And if it is what some people call a dead gun, like on a rabbit bird sometimes, just following the bird and then pulling the trigger. But making sure you're following the exact same speed as the bird is really my definition of that.
I got it. Yeah. And we could add one more element related to the mind, and that's when you're totally connected as far as everything seems to disappear around you. Have you ever had that happen? When it's almost like just you and the target? Or in life, it would be like you're sitting there talking to somebody and you look around and it's dark already, or things are closing down, or you can't believe it, you're already finished. Or when you're shooting, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the last station already. Have you ever had that happen?
Yes, ma'am, for sure. I think the first time that actually has ever happened to me is up at Nationals about 2 years ago for SCTP when I shot 100 straight in trap. I mean, I went through the first 25 and didn't even feel like it was happening, didn't even feel like it was real, and just kept on going through it and didn't really think about it. And then it got to the last bird because the day before, actually, I missed on my second to last target for 100 straight.
Oh boy, yeah.
So when I got to that last bird, it was a lot of mental, and then I just had to block that out and really focus on seeing it, and just kind of had to shoot. And when I just shot that, it just felt like it wasn't real, and that like nothing was happening around.
Yes, that's perfect. And that's the extra piece I would bring in when you say connect with it. It's kind of like if you're in a conversation with somebody, you can be totally connected in that conversation and not be thinking about anything else. Or you can be looking, like I'm sure this happens with your parents all the time or your teachers, right? You can be looking at them and they're saying something to you, but you're off. Your mind is daydreaming or you're thinking about something else altogether, but you can still nod and shake your head when they're talking to you, right?
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
Versus when you go, okay, I'm going to really tune in here. I'm going to really connect. Like what this teacher's saying, I really need to get it this time. Or what my mom's saying, I really need to listen or else I'm going to get in trouble. Something like that. It brings you to like another level of listening, which is connecting with that person. And that's what you're talking about with the shooting, but also what you just explained with the Nationals, that's called the zone state.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
everything seems to disappear around you. It feels amazing. You wish it would just keep going on and on. You can't believe when you're done or you're about to be done. It doesn't feel like you pulling the trigger. You're not thinking, you're not analyzing, you're just totally present and engaged and connected with the target. And most people think that is spontaneous. Well, it can be spontaneous, but most people think it's only spontaneous, like that you can't deliberately do that, but you can train on all the elements that allow you to be in that state and also the elimination of the things that would keep you out of it. So how many times would you say that you've experienced that zone state?
I experienced it less than 7 or 8 times in my shooting career.
Yeah.
But there's probably close to 7 or 8 that I can physically remember me just being in that zone and everything disappearing and just focusing in and not remembering anything else happening.
Yeah, it feels pretty great, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
It's such a great feeling, but you can practically not even miss when you're doing that. It's totally instinctive or intuitive or subconscious. Those are all different words to use to describe it. Have you ever heard of shooting subconsciously or shooting intuitively or instinctively?
I've heard of the instinctively, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I feel like my first few years of shooting was a lot of instincts because, I mean, when I was younger, I used to shoot quail and dove a lot.
Mhm.
So the clay targets was a lot of that instinct.
Nice, nice. So you're in school, you're shooting with school, you're shooting these competitions and traveling around and everything. What are some of your goals for what you want to do in the sport?
So the goals for this year is definitely try to make the junior sporting and junior FITAS Team USAs. And then my goal for kind of college is to go to college and shoot for a college like either Texas A&M or Georgia Southern or one of the other shooting schools. But I'm not sure what I want to do in college and for a business, but I definitely know I want to.
Okay. Nice. Got ya. So, when you how often do you practice? So you're getting instruction a certain number of times. Well, how often are you getting instruction, and then how often are you practicing?
So I feel like every time I practice, I'm really getting instruction actually. I don't know the last time in the last probably 6 weeks I've gone out where I haven't had either Shelby or Zach with me. And I think I'm practicing right around 3 or 4 times a week, especially with this new gun because I've only had it right around 6 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is getting used to the gun and being with Shelby or Zach to help me get used to the gun.
Yeah. How many events do you shoot a year? And which ones? Are they like regionals and states? And what do you like to shoot?
So this year, I've really stopped shooting all the SCTP tournaments. This is my first year of not shooting any SCTP and just focusing in on the NSCA circuit. So this year, I'm shooting all the regionals, US Open, nationals, and then I'll shoot some of the smaller events. I mean, they're not smaller, but the events that aren't a regional, but like Gator Cup and Jack Links and Seminole and then
Right.
Georgia State and then all of the FITAS Grand Prix and everything like that is what I'm also shooting.
You're a busy man.
Yes, ma'am.
A busy parents too.
Yes, ma'am,
Oh,
for
your
sure.
father shoots too, doesn't he?
Yes, ma'am, he does. Most of the time I go out, he's always with me.
Uh-huh.
So he'll be in my squad driving me around because I can't drive yet. So he's
So
driving me around shooting with me right now, and he'll probably keep on doing that.
you're getting better scores than him?
Right now I am. He's catching up. He's getting there.
How long has it been that you've been able to shoot better scores than him?
I mean, really, since I first started, because he didn't start until a year or two after me.
Okay, got you.
So I think ever since I really first started, I've kind of been shooting consistently better scores than him.
Right.
But I mean, he's definitely getting to catching up because I mean, he's shot and hunted all his life, and he's been doing that since he was a little kid.
Is,
So he's got a lot of experience of shooting birds and hunting and doing that sorts of stuff.
is he getting instruction also?
Yes, ma'am, he is. He's
Oh,
getting
okay.
instruction from Zach and Shelby as well.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. What about your mom?
My mom, she used to shoot when she was younger and she was in college. She actually used to shoot trap events just kind of at a local range. And she shoot good. She used to win. She would go and she would be at the local like ranges and traps and skeet ranges. And all the old guys would be like, "What is this girl doing here?" And then she'd go out and she would win some of them.
Nice. Nice. Well,
But nowadays, she doesn't shoot anymore.
yeah. Well, there's some good knowledge and insight there. I imagine then they're very supportive of what you're doing, and they have
Yes, ma'am.
some good ways of helping you to do that, right?
Yes, ma'am, for sure. I couldn't do it without them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I forget what I was going to say to you. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You're prepping What do you have kind of some routines? I happened to see your father's Facebook post where he was like saying how proud he was of you and your preparations and the work you put in prior to Jack Link. So tell me about some of your preparations.
So I'm prepping as at home. I'm prepping with mounting my gun. A lot of fee task mounts. I'm probably mounting it 100 times to 200 times fee task, and then 100 to 200 of like normal sported mounting.
How
And
often do you do that?
so I try to do that 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay. Is that your main prep?
So that's my prep at home. And then also I go out and really practice is I feel like my biggest preparation and my biggest help to going out and preparing for all of these tournaments.
What do you do related to kind of how you take care of yourself? Are you sleeping
So,
good? And yeah, tell me about that.
I definitely think sleep is very important to have the energy to go on. And then at school, working out, weightlifting at school, and then also conditioning, so staying in shape in that aspect. And then kind of at home, drinking and eating as healthy as I can try to do with the stuff I have or lifestyle, because it's hard to eat and drink healthy when you're at some of these shoots and you don't have your home right there to cook a meal or a dinner or even a breakfast sometimes.
No, I understand totally. I've been traveling to competitions 20 years almost. First it was PGA events and then it became, competitive clay shooting events. And the main thing is first recognizing that it's important to do those things, like eat good and drink well and whatever. So have you noticed at any point that how you drank or didn't drink or how you ate or you didn't eat affected your shooting?
100%. I've had days where when I first started, actually, I didn't used to eat breakfast much. I used to maybe a little bit of breakfast, but it wasn't anything, sorry, but it wasn't anything good to like keep me going for that day. And I felt like once I started doing that, I started shooting better and performing better because I had the energy to go on and to shoot. And then also with staying hydrated, I feel like really helps you because what I've always been told is when you get dehydrated, the first thing to go is your eyes. And when your eyes go, then it's just almost
That's it,
impossible to
right?
see the bird.
Right.
I mean, that's your main aspect of seeing the bird. And so I think it's very important to have the energy to shoot with eating the right foods and then also drinking the right amount of liquids and the right types of drinks, even
Yeah.
to be able to actually go out and perform to your best of your abilities.
I'm sure you said that you lift weights and all that too. I'm sure that you've noticed it related to how much strength you have to lift or whatever. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes, ma'am, 100%. So I've definitely noticed that with protein and your fats and your carbohydrates that you eat and everything. Just it gives you everything. Like when you're lifting weights and you eat the protein, it helps to build back that muscle, I feel like, and help to gain more muscle to help with lifting and helped with the endurance of the lift.
Yeah, for sure. So you said there was a time when you, let's say breakfast, that you weren't eating that great for breakfast. Give me an example of something that you used to eat and then tell me what you noticed.
So I think I used to eat like a little bowl of cereal, or I used to eat like I think I'd eat like a little Uncrustable for breakfast
Yeah.
because we have that in our fridge of our RV.
Right.
And I wouldn't really want something big, and I would just eat one of those little things, and I would think it would keep me going. But I would realize getting into the middle of the day, and I haven't had anything but that breakfast, I'm starting to lose energy. It's harder to pick up the gun and hold the gun the whole time. The gun's getting heavy. it's harder to see the birds even, and it's harder just to make the correct moves and the right moves.
Yeah, and to probably think clearly. So what correction have you made in that area?
I've made the correction of eating, let's say, either eggs or actually cooking a little bit of like sausage and biscuits and having an actual little bit of a meal and protein to keep me going through the day. And then also having a little bit of a snack mid round. If it's middle of the day, it's mid round, like either a little bit of beef jerky, or sometimes if we have fruit in the cart, we'll keep fruit in the cart to help to snack on and help to keep that fruit, to help to hydrate and to have something in your stomach to where you have a little bit of food and a little bit of fuel
For
to
sure.
keep your mind and your eyes going.
Very smart. Very smart. And all those things have to be deliberate, right? Like you travel a lot in the RV then to a lot of these events?
At CTP, we would, but now we're getting into NSCA. We're really just renting hotels and Airbnbs.
I got you. Yeah. When I go to an event, if I fly, it's one of the first things I do before I go to the hotel, because most hotels have little refrigerators too, but I get Airbnbs also. And I go to the grocery store first thing, and I've bought coolers, the kind that kind of fold up, or I'll get one of the foam ones. And if I don't do it right away, then I'll put it off. And the next thing you know, it's several days in, and then I'm like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get the pulled pork, and no matter what a person's doing, like I don't have to be shooting, but just being there and being able to be my best self and be able to not be groggy or not be tired and such is important for anybody to notice these things and take care of them. So I'm glad to hear that you are putting healthy snacks in some kind of cooler or something. And then what do you do about lunch? Because, there's certain foods provided at these places. How do you handle that if you're shooting after, especially?
So it happened at Jack Link's. I mean, they had good food to where you could actually keep your body fueled, and they had a lot of healthy food there, but some unhealthy. But I mean, the last day on Sunday, I shot at I think 8:20, and then again at 3:30 on the main. And when I shot at that 8:20, I was, I had the good breakfast. I was nice and hydrated, and I didn't shoot bad. I shot good, but I went in middle of the day. I got told by my parents, like, you need to eat, as just kind of a reminder, because you got this main event at 3:30. You can't be tired, and you got to make sure your body has the energy and the fuel to keep going through it. And so, I had I think chicken sandwich is what I ate from there, just to kind of have the protein, but also have a little bit of a filler as a meal, because I had 4 hours till I had to shoot. 3 or
Yeah.
4 hours till I had to shoot.
You ever notice that if you just eat salad, that you're hungry like an hour or so later? Yeah, you really need that protein on there, right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
So important things to notice and to do deliberately. You had said earlier that making sure you drink the right fluids too. So what is your experience around that?
So in my cooler, we usually keep waters, and then also the little liquid IV powders. And then we'll keep Gatorades in there. We'll keep the Gator Light, which is that rapid rehydration electrolyte drink that
Okay.
Gatorade now makes. And then just waters as well. And through the actual, I'll be drinking the Gatorades to kind of keep me going and keep the electrolytes flowing through. And then also the liquid IV powders. And then when I'm not shooting and just waiting around, and even before the tournament, like on the way there, I'll have the rapid rehydration to keep the fluids flowing through my body and keep the electrolytes in my body. And then also just water to keep me hydrated.
Smart. Oh, that's pretty great. It's one thing to have those things with you, but it's another to actually take it out and drink it. So how are you with, making sure you actually take it out and drink it?
Some events I'm good about it, and then there's other ones where I'm a little bit into the flow state on some of them stations to where when I go to the next station, I don't really think about it. And then we have a long backup on that next station, and I step back to the cart, and my dad reminds me, remember you're drinking, remember you have to drink to keep hydrated. And I go back there and get a drink, and
You've got some good caddies with you, it sounds like.
yes, ma'am, for sure.
That's good that you listen to them also. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you just said the flow. Did you know the flow and the zone are the same thing?
Not really.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I really kind of thought of the flow as you're in the state of you're just shooting good and you're seeing the targets good and you're in that, like, you feel good about every shot. You feel confident.
You're in the
That's kind of what I
groove.
thought. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Well, now, so you just described the flow and having experienced that. And then a little while ago, we talked about the zone. Do you now see that they're the same thing, or do you feel like there's something different in the way you describe those or define them?
I think they're pretty much the same thing. There might be minor differences, but not really anything big.
Yeah. There's a book that a friend of mine, well, it's a distant friend, an acquaintance, she wrote years ago called The Flow. And it's just another way of describing the zone. There are both states where it's like you're just in that groove. Everything's flowing nicely. You're kind of, strolling down a river. You're not paddling. You're not forcing things. You're not trying to make it happen. Those are all issues that can kind of come up with shooting, is trying to duplicate or trying to be too careful or trying too hard or overanalyzing, and that all those things take you out of your peak performance state when you're practicing, but probably more when you're competing. Have you ever got so frustrated that you just wanted to quit, like just want to be done and walk off or something?
There's definitely been times where you think that at a station. I think I zeroed a station at Nationals last year, actually, on the green course. And I just kind of felt like that because on that green course, I really just bombed it. I mean, did not shoot good. And that kind of just put me out of it. But a lot of that was mental. A lot of that was in my head because that was my third day. That first day I shot good. I mean, I think I was 1 or 2 spot at that point. The second day, I didn't shoot bad. I didn't shoot great. And then that third day, it was a lot of in my head of I really got to shoot good today to pick it up. And when I went out on the first station or two, and I think I was down 4 or 5 on the first station or two, and it just killed my mind. And then I went in fifth or fourth station in, and I zero it. It was a lot of mental.
It's good that you recognize that. I think that there's a lot of people, 3 times your age that don't necessarily know what the mental is. They don't know how to differentiate or pull it out and be like, oh, that was more mental than mechanics. And there's definitely a tendency for people to, if they miss, to go, oh, well, what did I just do mechanically? So, you're at a young age. It's great for you to recognize that element of it and to see that it's either helped you or hindered you at times. There is a saying that it says it's 90% mental. Have you ever heard that saying?
Yes, ma'am, 100%. That saying was really, I think, one of the first things that was actually told to me in this sport, and I 100% agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be more true. I mean, everything is mental in this game. There's just those little aspects of the physical part and the actual movements that you have to make in the game that makes it the 10%.
So you're practicing and getting instruction by two different instructors, and you recognize that you can bring all that to an event, but then potentially still not do well because of the mental. So have you thought about doing something about your mental? If you feel it's 90% mental, have you thought about doing something for your mental?
Personally, I haven't. I think personally, I have really just tried to do it a lot on my own and a lot with Zach and Shelby. Actually, I've felt like they are kind of a lot of my mental coach on some of these, especially at a tournament. If they see I just came off of a course and I didn't shoot good, they will come and they'll pick me up and they'll help me out. And I feel like that helps me a lot. But I've never really thought about going to an actual mental coach to help me with the mental aspect of the game.
I gotcha. What drives you or motivates you to come back over and over again, even if you haven't scored your best or done your best?
Really, I think the main thing that keeps me coming back is failure on, not like failing, but not performing my best and not doing the best that I personally, in my mind, think that I should be doing. And what keeps me coming back is just trying to drive to my really goals and aspects of what I feel like I could shoot and what I feel like I should be doing out there.
Yeah. So at the times that you have zeroed stations or you have thought about quitting, how quickly can you bounce back?
The next station.
Yeah.
All it takes is that one station. I think when I zeroed that station at Nationals, I was definitely mad. I wasn't happy about it, but then I kind of calmed down and was like, all right, just take a breath. It's okay. And that next station, I ran that next station and was kind of back at it and was kind of in my mind back in the game on just what I've done, the damage I've already done on that course, just try to get back in the game and try to get out of my own head.
Nice. You're very fortunate that you've got some of the skills to be able to do that, especially at your age, because that will take you really far, not only in life, but also in your shooting. So your ability to recover, right, and to see the good in a situation and to not tear yourself up and break down your confidence and to be able to recover that quickly. Those are all great things, not only for your clay shooting, but also in your life. And I imagine it has a lot to do with not only your upbringing and your parents and what they've taught you and how they encourage you and continue to help you, but also your personality, as you said, with being more calm natured. You've got a lot of positive things there lining up for you.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. I think it also helped me because I used to play football, baseball, like a lot. Those used to be my two sports. And just this year, I actually quit both of those sports to focus solely on shotgun. And I think just the playing of other sports and the playing of those two sports really helps me with that kind of accepting of failure or defeat, because you're never going to be perfect in a football game. You're never going to be perfect in a baseball game. You're going to strike out at times. So I think that definitely helped with the mental aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. Some good insight you've got there. So where do you see yourself in like 5 or 10 years?
I'm not 100% sure on where I'm going to see myself in a business perspective, but shooting perspective, I hope to see myself in a college shooting for that college. Like I said, one of the top programs right now, I think, in my personal opinion, is like Texas A&M's up in the top for sure, and then Georgia Southern's up in the top for sure, but definitely a college shooting. Not 100% sure what I want to do for business yet.
Yeah, though. I gotcha. That's good. It's great that you found something that you love so much at a young age and are devoted to it. You just have so much to look forward to as far as where it can take you, for sure. So, and I do want to welcome you. Since you are in Georgia, you should come down to my shotgun club sometime. It's just
Yes, ma'am.
right
100%.
there. Yeah. And then you can practice some Joe Skull targets and he won't get you at the next nationals.
Yes, ma'am. For sure.
What would be like one piece of advice or magic pill, like wisdom, that you would pass on to the listeners?
The one, I don't really have, I feel like, one piece of advice. I feel like it's a few pieces interchangeable with each other. And the first one is really just see the bird and make sure you're seeing it, and be true with yourself of actually seeing it late and watching the bird break when you pull the trigger. Seeing it all the way till you pull the trigger and after you pull the trigger before you transition. And then also, when you miss, don't think about it. Don't think it just knocked you out of the whole tournament. Go back on the next bird and analyze what just happened, but do it quickly, but also go back to the next bird and just try to fix your mistake and not let it have an avalanche effect on the rest of your course.
That's some great advice. And coming from somebody who's already practicing that and has learned the hard way that that's important, right? That's great. I do want to tell listeners you can get some free goodies, free access to my mental training online course and free access to mental training on demand and my Mind Mastered app. Also a free golf cart or push cart rental at my shotgun club. So you can just go to dawngrant.com/free. And then also there's lots of free tips if you follow me on social media. The clay shooting mental game tips are on there as well. So you're not necessarily offering any services or anything to folks, but if they want to follow you or something, you're on social media?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and both of those are just my name, Carson_Lingle.
Do you have any shout outs to any sponsors or anything?
Yes, ma'am. Dan Creekmer with Ultimate Shooting Accessories with Castellani.
Nice. Well, I definitely have enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing where your shooting career takes you, as you already are doing so great at it. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see where that takes you. I'll definitely see you at some of the different events coming up here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Clay Mastermind with Dawn Grant. Mental excellence and industry insights. Brought to you by the Clay Lab. We hope you found today's episode inspiring and informative. Remember, mastering the mental game is key to unlocking your full potential on the course. And through our conversations with industry leaders, we aim to provide you with valuable insights into the world of clay shooting. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, rate, and share it. For more insights, training tips, and updates on upcoming events, Dawn Grant and Amelia Shotgun Sports are on all social media platforms. Go to dawngrant.com and come shoot at Amelia Shotgun Sports. Stay focused, stay driven, and keep pushing your limits. Until next time, Dawn wishes you success and happiness on your journey to peak performance and industry mastery.